Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to meticulously break down one of the most chaotic, action-packed sequences of World Cup football you will literally ever hear. We're talking about a breathless passage of play, featuring some of the greatest athletes on the planet operating at the absolute peak of their powers. It's not just a highlight reel, you know? It's a masterclass in momentum, psychology, and just sheer athletic brilliance. We're going to deconstruct this thriller between Norway and France piece by piece and examine exactly how a match can flip from total offensive domination to desperate defense in the blink of an eye. We're jumping straight into the absolute peak of the frenzy with this incredible call from the commentator. Just let those words wash over you for a second. A World Cup hat trick, and it's taken him 32 minutes. When we talk about the World Cup, we're talking about the pinnacle of the sport, right? Matches are famously tight, defenses are incredibly disciplined, and goals are usually super hard to come by. So to hear a commentator screaming about a hat trick barely a third of the way into a match, well, that tells you everything you need to know about the electrical storm we're analyzing today. It sets a baseline of pure, unadulterated shock. Okay, let's quickly map out the sheer velocity of these events, because this is a terrifying sequence for any defense to face. First, Mbappe hits the crossbar. Then, Dembele bends in a goal. Immediately, Oscar draws a penalty on the other end. And finally, Mignon saves that penalty. It's a total roller coaster, and we're going to look at every single drop and turn. Let's rewind slightly and see how this actually kicks off. Section 1, the opening barrage, igniting the chaos. Boom! The commentary throws us right into the deep end with this super aggressive near miss as Mbappe strikes the crossbar. And that sets a tone of immediate pressure. Think about the sound of a football smashing against the woodwork in a massive stadium. It's a collective gasp. When a player of Kylian Mbappe's caliber rattles the crossbar, it sends this psychological shockwave through the opposing defensive line. They know they were just millimeters away from disaster. It forces panic, it forces scrambling, and most importantly, it disrupts their defensive shape. So this isn't just a missed shot, it's literally the spark that lights the powder keg for everything that follows. Now, what usually happens when the ball hits the crossbar? The defense clears it, they take a breath, they reset their lines, right? But not here. Instead of the play resetting, the momentum just continues to build without giving the defense a single breath. The ball stays in the danger zone and the French attack just swarms. Honestly, this is what separates good teams from legendary ones, that ability to sustain an attack when the opponent is reeling. Dembele immediately capitalizes on that lingering chaos, maintaining this unrelenting pressure that physically and mentally exhausts the defenders who are still just trying to recover from the Mbappe strike. Which brings us to the moment the dam breaks. Section 2, a brilliant Ballon d'Or quality goal. Dembele takes that lingering panic and he just channels it, bending in a shot that the commentator immediately recognizes as pure magic. That's what he can do, the commentator says. Actually, bending a football at this level requires an astounding mix of technical precision and situational awareness. Dembele isn't just hitting it hard. He's calculating the trajectory, the spin, and the exact window through a maze of panicking defenders. He totally exploits the disorganization caused by the initial crossbar hit, finds space that shouldn't even be there, and punishes the defense with a sweeping, brilliant finish. Notice the sheer weight of this praise. Invoking the Ballon d'Or for a single strike is definitely not something commentators do lightly. It tells us we aren't just watching a good play. We're watching a player operating in a completely different stratosphere. It's a moment of transcendent skill that just elevates the entire tournament. And just as we process that incredible strike, the commentator reveals the true scale of what we are witnessing. Section 3, a 32-minute hat trick, a truly historic run. We really need to pause for a second and just absorb this number, 32, because it only took 32 minutes of gameplay for Dembele to secure 3 goals. In a standard match, teams will spend the first 20 minutes just kind of feeling each other out, establishing possession, testing the waters. So to have already dismantled an international defense 3 separate times before the first half is even close to finishing, that's statistically absurd. It represents total tactical domination and a player who has found an almost terrifying flow state on the pitch. Look, we all know what a hat trick is, but achieving one on the World Cup stage is an entirely different beast. Doing it against the best national teams on Earth in just over half an hour, that basically breaks the mathematical probability of the match. Dembele didn't just score 3 goals. He effectively shattered the opponent's spirit with absolute dominance. Now, you would think a 32-minute hat trick would end the contest, right? Wrong. Welcome to Section 4, Oscar's counter, an immediate response. This brilliantly illustrates how incredibly fast momentum swings in this match, flipping from pure French dominance to a sudden, desperate counterattack. On one hand, you have the absolute peak of attacking football: crossbars, bending strikes, historic hat tricks. And literally seconds later, on the other end of the pitch, you have Norway saying, yeah, we're not done. It is such a testament to the sheer willpower required at this level, you can't celebrate for even a second, because the moment you lose focus, the other team is already charging down your throat. Before the celebration can even fully settle, Oscar is already applying major pressure on the other end. The commentator calls it an immediate chance, and what a response. And guys, this is the beauty of the sport. France has just landed what looks like a knockout blow, but Oscar refuses to let the narrative end there. He takes the ball and instantly turns defense into attack. He forces France to immediately switch their mindset from the elation of scoring to the absolute terror of defending their own box. Talk about whiplash. This sudden surge from Norway brings us to the breathless climax of our explainer. Section 5, the final penalty save, a defensive masterclass. Let's break down the final frantic seconds of this push step by step. Step 1. Oscar keeps his feet, fighting through the French defenders, showing incredible balance and determination. He refuses to go down easily, which ironically makes the final foul even more undeniable. Step 2. He finally goes over under immense pressure, drawing the ultimate punishment, a penalty kick. The momentum has completely reversed. Now it all rests on step 3. The fate of this entire manic sequence comes down to a one-on-one battle between the penalty taker and the goalkeeper. The sequence ends on the ultimate defensive cliffhanger, with Mino stepping up to completely shut down the penalty attempt at the very last second. After everything France just achieved offensively, they were on the verge of giving it right back. But Mino reads the play, dives, and makes the massive save for Désiré Doué. It is just a stunning display of goalkeeping heroics. He preserves the dominance that his forwards fought so hard to establish. It's the perfect bookend to the sequence, really. It starts with Mbappé nearly scoring and ends with Mino preventing a guaranteed goal. When you compress this much athletic brilliance and chaos into just a few moments of commentary, you have to wonder if it gets any better than this. We just walked through a crossbar strike, a brilliantly bent goal, a historic 32-minute hat trick, an immediate counterattack, a drawn foul, and a game-saving penalty stop. This is exactly why we watch the sport. It's a vivid reminder of how quickly fortunes change on the pitch, and how individual moments of brilliance, whether scoring a goal or saving one, can completely define a match. So I'll leave you with this to think about. When you factor in the stakes, the speed, and the sheer volume of world-class plays we just analyzed, does a sequence of football actually get any more thrilling than this?